Hey guys, Nestler Magic here, and I've got some footage from my last live stream to show to you in case you missed that. We caught someone doing something unbelievably suspicious live. Now, I would show you the entire game, but that's like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes of gameplay footage. But this deck that I was going up against was basically a constructed deck, but besides that, he had about 80 to 90% uncommons in his deck. So let's just show it off and then I'll tell you what I think from what I've heard is going on here. All right, we have got an uncommon, we've got a common but a really, really good card, an uncommon, and a game winner, uncommon, 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 exact same uncommon, other uncommon, exact same uncommon. How did you get that many? Thrill of Possibility, common but very good card, Underworld Fires, which he cast on turn 2 for no reason at all. I had nothing in play. He just cast it. Hasn't done anything with the graveyard. And Traveler's Amulet is a common, but it's really good. And that was the second game in a row that somebody was caught doing something that makes absolutely no sense. And on a later turn, he used that Saga to boost my creature instead of his. For no reason. It's not like he boosted it then blew it up. He just boosted it and then didn't swing. So, what, 2 misclicks? I mean, how do you explain this? So, theory number 1 is the person was a bot. And they just absolutely loaded up his deck with the most, god tier perfect set of uncommons ever, because nobody drafts that many uncommons. And remember, we're only on turn 8, 9, 10. So basically his whole deck is uncommons except for the power uncommons that he has. So it's all perfect cards and it's a suspicious amount of high rarity cards for a draft. You just don't see that. I get it. In an AI draft, the AI never touches red. It's a flaw with this set. Cool. But how did he get double black sagas? I mean, the AI will grab black. They will grab black over white. So theory number 2 is this was a human. We have no idea why they misplayed, misclicked, mistargeted. And allegedly, and I use that term very generously because I may or may not have seen proof of this. About a year or two ago, year and a half ago, you could look at the first pack and then go to an online guide or a spreadsheet or a database or whatever, and from the first pack, find out what's in the other 7 packs. How the hell they're not random, why there would be a pattern in that, why anybody would code it that way, I don't know. But I personally saw absolute proof of this, but I have to say, allegedly, that was a thing. Also, allegedly, they never put in the patch notes, oh, we fixed the thing where you can, look ahead and cheat at what the next couple packs are. So if you know what's in all 8 packs, you can make a pretty good plan of, well, I'm going to try to grab these, and then you just kind of mix that with a knowledge of the tendencies of the AI. So if this person looked at the first pack, looked at the next 7 packs, and said, hey, wait a minute, the AI doesn't tend to pick this, and then once they pick this, they're going to keep picking those colors. So if I pick this, and this, I will get an absurd string of untouched sagas passed to me. I heard that there were even databases of pick probabilities for the cards. The AI will make this a very low priority, or 5% of the time the AI will pick this, or there'll be a score out of 100 and then the AI will pick the highest score card that matches their colors. And so they won't grab it as long as there is a more grab-worthy, higher-ranked card first. So you can predict, okay, this is what the next couple cards are going to be, and this is what the AI is going to pick. Well, that's just called cheating. So people were going up against draft decks where they're like, how do you have 8 rares and 20 uncommons? How did that happen? Well, here it is happening right in front of your face. This is not the first time I've seen something like this at all. And if I recall, I was 2-2 at this point of the draft. They have made it purposely almost impossible to get to 3 because of their, what did they call it? I call it match rigging. They call it event-specific ELO or temporary pseudo-ELO, or they gave it some BS term. And if you thought, oh no, this is ranked play, they don't use an ELO. Okay, either earlier or later in the stream, I think it was later, I was tier, 2 silver, and they matched me up against a tier 4 bronze person. That's, 6 or 7 levels higher than them? And tier 4 bronze is what you start out at, by the way. Now, why the hell did that happen? And I thought, wait a minute, okay, something is a little sus here. I'm going for the 3rd win. The 3rd win is very difficult to get. If you have 2 wins, they will basically match you up against the hardest person they can possibly come up with. So they went and got somebody ranked 6 levels lower than me, because their deck was absolutely stomping me in the nuts, or they were also a bot. In the game, they also took 2 actions that make absolutely no sense when it comes to targeting. Like, they accidentally targeted, like, my creature with a beneficial spell, so... And, like, nothing came of it. I'm not saying, oh, I just missed that 5 turns later they made use of that card being in the graveyard, or they wanted to use an escape. No, that did not happen. They just plain targeted the wrong creature. But yeah, I lost that badly. Their deck was another god tier deck sent down from heaven to stomp us in the nuts. So, yeah, and that was a separate draft, by the way, too. I restarted it just on live stream just to show people how broken it was after everybody saw this. Oh, and this whole deck was a kidnap and sack deck that also had Underworld Dreams and also had an outdraw you 2/1, 2 copies of it, that red enchantment. Plus double removal sagas that cleared graveyards in an escape format. This is literally one tiny step down from a constructed deck that I was playing against right here. So, I mean, I've ran about 10 drafts this month, and like I would get 2 or 3 wins, usually 2, because it would be almost impossible to get 3. But usually if I win 2 and I have 0 losses, which is very common, I'll lose 2 in a row as they try to absolutely just crush me and keep me from getting to 3, no matter how good my deck is. But it's like, am I really going to lose, 3 games in a row? Like, how hard can they really rig it? They could put me up against one of the harder decks, and it's like, if I go 2-0 and I'm real confident with that deck, I've got a power deck too. Just saying. I've also had ones where game 1, I have like this insane deck, like green, white, flawless constellation flying lifelink creatures, like just absolute tier 1 amazing god tier deck, and they'll put me up against somebody who just gets color screwed, is a bad matchup, and I will just obliterate them. And it's usually somebody ranked higher than me. It's usually somebody ranked gold. So they were using me and my deck and my estimated deck power level to kick them out of the tournament. And then all I got was a free win out of it, except, oh, now I'm 1-0, who cares? So I think that they have like a reward suppression system in play. And you might be thinking, yeah, but for every person that wins, then there's one person that loses. So if they have it rigged, well, it's the same thing. The coins have got to go to one person, or the gems have got to go to one of the 2 people, except not really. It's not like you get, 100 gems per win. It goes way up as you win more. So their goal is to have nobody win 4, 5, 6, or 7 matches. So theory number 1, they're putting in really, really intelligent AI bots that still have some glitches. I dismissed that completely because people said it was in the standard constructed queue. I've never seen evidence of that in my life. But in drafts, yeah, I'm pretty much on board with that as of yesterday. And both of the people's usernames it looked like they came off an auto-generated list. One was literally a first and last name. And like the first name was Michael. Like it's like they just took the most common names in America and just generated a username off it. And plus, who the hell puts their first and last name on their arena account? I mean, come on. And the other account looked like it was just, some words, some dashes, and some numbers. I mean, common dictionary word, stupid, edgy 2004 level internet term. Looked like it was generated off a list. Just saying. So the bot theory is one thing, because if they throw in a bot and the bot loses, okay, great, but it probably won't because they start stacking it with an amazing deck. The thing is, though, it's like, how would you'd have to build like 100 or 200 or 300 different decks. Otherwise, if I played enough drafts, I would see literally the same deck being run by a different bot. So they'd either have to have like a random deck generator, but then still make it really good, which, just shift up the rarity. Just saying. Or they'd have to have such a big pool of pre-drafted decks. But here's the thing. I have a third theory, and once again, they've admitted to this. The arena staff has said this. They had an event a while ago where they tracked the exact deck list that people had won drafts with, and then you would take that into, I think, like a pseudo draft against each other or something like that. So it was like, they called it like the dream draft event or something like that, where you would take like any deck. They recorded every single deck list that went 7-0 or 7-1 or 7-2, I think it was. And then they saved those for like a week. And then they threw them all in there as possibilities or something like that. So you would get like an auto-generated deck. I think that's what it was. I mean, I'm probably not getting the details correct, but it was something like that. And so they recorded all those deck lists and either selected a couple of them or just threw them all in there. I don't remember what it was. And then for the event, we all played against each other. Now, we already know that Sparky has a pretty well-written AI. And honestly, even the volunteer made, low effort, who cares, we're not even making money off this AI in Xmage because it's a volunteer product made by assholes and the community is toxic garbage, FYI. They wrote an AI that's pretty competent, okay? That thing's not terrible. It makes very few mistakes. It's clear that you're playing against an AI and it could use some, touch-ups, but what if you only had to worry about one set? One set worth of cards with central mechanics. How much better would the AI be then instead of giving the AI every card ever made in the history of the game and expecting it to handle that correctly? Yeah, you could pull it off. You'd have a couple glitches with targeting, but you could pull it off. So I think it's time to sue Wizards of the Coast, to just file a lawsuit that says, I think that I was playing against a non-human player and you never said that. In fact, you misleadingly stated the opposite. And now, I'm filing a complaint with FTC or I'm suing you to get my money back, which you'd have to have over $75,000 in damages to go to a federal court, so good luck with that. But class action would be over $75,000. Oh, hell yes. And then during discovery, we would have them under oath saying, do you insert AI bots into drafts? So if somebody's an activist lawyer who likes to stomp on big corporations and get free publicity, or someone, get the class action going, because I'd love a refund for the one gem purchase I ever made that I didn't even use for drafts. But yeah, if they made it they implicitly or explicitly stated that you're going to be playing against another human player and then it's found out that we weren't, we are entitled to a refund. It's that simple. And the court order could literally be during discovery, give us the source code for the entire game and we're going to have it analyzed. Boy, if they just sought evidence, they could get 100 recordings of people with these very, very suspect games, just play them all in court. Oh, I would love it if that happened to Wizards of the Coast, but I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a bot. Maybe the person mistargeted or misclicked twice or misread a card. I doubt it. But I'll tell you what, if these were humans, they were cheating. They were 100%, allegedly, in my opinion, cheating at the game, at the draft. They were looking ahead to the packs. They were getting perfect picks. Something artificial, something cheaty happened. I also heard an unconfirmed rumor, and I love it when people hit me up on DMs or emails and then they provide zero proof whatsoever as if I'm going to report on that. But I have been told that somebody either saw working or saw a claim that there is a hack where you can take your deck and somehow swap it with another one. I thought the person also said that they patched that vulnerability though. So basically you can change the ID of the deck locally or something, which that's all on the server. That's why it didn't sound right to me, but the person didn't really know how it worked. They just knew that it did work. But yeah, you could draft a deck and then build a constructed deck and then swap out the two. Just flip-flop them. There was some way to signal to the server that you pick something that you didn't or something, or you could go card by card and swap them out and send the wrong card data, or I don't know. Most of that would be server side. I don't believe it, but just somebody claimed that was a thing. So thought I'd throw that in there at the end. I don't believe it, but anything's possible. How else would you explain this deck right here? I'd love to hear you deniers explain what just happened in this game besides, oh, it was a miracle. It was really lucky. He got really good picks. If there were 100,000 people doing a draft and 1% of them are going to end up with a deck like this just by random chance, okay, but then why do I keep playing against them? And why is it always going for the third win? And why do I see it personally so often? And why have I talked to all my friends and they all said they saw the same thing? So this is not just one anomaly of a game. So anyway, I actually probably just put, while editing this, the entire gameplay, as far as I could, on top of this. So you can see how that game went. If you're familiar with what the cards do, you're okay, nobody should come into a draft with a deck that powerful. I even, in the next one, drafted or tried to draft black-red to try to replicate this to see if, maybe I could do this without cheating. And I could not. It got so bad with the computer picked such good black cards, I had to switch to red-green. Oh, and I ended up with a hyper-powerful deck, and really suspect games happened, and then I went 1-3. And people in the chat were just blown away. They had said, I've never seen something like that. So maybe the game's targeting me, because people were like, I have done a lot of drafts. The other people were saying this. I have never seen something like that. And I've had people say the opposite. And it's maybe because I never spend money on the game, that now I'm cursed and they're making me lose every draft so that I get pissed off, spend money on gems and take another shot at it. It's possible. We've seen worse manipulation than that in mobile games. I wouldn't put it above Wizards to do that. So anyway, yeah, that's the ultra sus game from hell. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know your best account of some weird crap that happened during a draft. And I might just keep drafting on live stream just to keep showing off this shit. It's a terrible use of my gems and money and time, but, you know, I get 5,000 coins, every 3 days, so, you know, hey. I don't know, maybe 4 days. I've honestly been playing Tiberium Wars instead of this, which that game blows, but this game blows worse. So keep on having fun on MTG Arena, and I'll see you guys next video.